Hi, everybody. It's me, Mama D, here on Sunday, as usual. And my guest tonight is Darius West. I'm going to play a little video that I created for him. And if I can find it, like usual, I get lost. So we'll be back in just a minute.
Here's a little bit about Darius. He had an interest in cinema, which led him to begin traveling back and forth from San Diego to Los Angeles to attend film festivals and screenwriting seminars to understand the structure and discipline of the filmmaking craft. After shooting and editing his first short film, Wealth, in 2009, which received rave reviews along with being aired locally in Chicago, he made the decision to retire from his job with the gas company after 12 years and moved to Los Angeles to pursue his passion for film. He attended film school at Symphony Film and Post production in Burbank, California. Darius graduated at the top of his class, while also landing his first job at My Eye Medium Post Production during his last semester in film school. Darius developed a screenplay for his first feature, set for production in 2019. Well, we're at 2020, and here's the trailer for Mic Drop, The Culture of Christian Hip Hop.
All right.
I did try and get the trailer for the video on, and I had it all set up and it just didn't work. And I tried.
It's fine. Yeah.
Well, first off, thank you very much for agreeing to be here with me. Aside from everything else that I said on the thing, tell everybody a little bit more about you.
Yeah. As you said in the video, I did live in San Diego and made my way to LA. But before I lived in San Diego for 15 years, I came by way of Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was there for 8 years, and with my mom and my brother, and we moved from North Carolina. So I was born and bred and raised in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, which is now a major city. But back in the 80s, 70s and 80s, it wasn't considered a big city or a big metropolitan area. But of course, sports, basketball, NBA, NFL, it became, a major city. So I'm a country boy. I come, from Charlotte, North Carolina. From country town or country city, as we consider it, Queen City of Trees. And so I did, my elementary and junior high in Charlotte, then did high school and some college in Oklahoma. Then eventually made my way out to San Diego because I was doing a lot of touring that time as a dancer and choreographer. So just ended up coming to California quite a bit. And I fell in love with San Diego and made my way up to San Diego. And like you said, I was with the gas company for 12 years, qualified for early retirement just in time for me to make that move to LA in 2012. And been here for 8 years, and here we are.
Early retirement, okay. Like you, to me, retirement is like 60, 65, and you look about like late 30s max. So that's like very early retirement.
Yeah, I retired. I started when I was 25, so 12 years. 32, 30. Oh, I was later than that. 37. At 37 is when I retired. You actually have with the gas company, the way it was structured when I first began in the year 2000, pensions were still available, and the 401k didn't come around till like 2004, 2005. So I was already vested with my pension and also vested with my 401k. So at 12 years with the company, you're actually qualified to retire early and keep your pension and keep your 401k. So I was like, oh, okay, this is great.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
move to LA. So April 3rd, 2012 was my 12-year anniversary with San Diego Gas Electric, and July 1st, 2012 was when I made my way to LA, and I just celebrated my 8th year anniversary here this past summer. So yeah.
Well, I like the idea of being able to retire after 12 years because that meant I would have been able to retire from my job 5 years ago. Hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm very glad that you did retire, because then this gives us something else to see of you. Now,
Yes,
you said you were a dancer and a choreographer. Where
yes.
did you learn dancing
Um,
choreography?
I learned by watching MC Hammer in the
Oh,
late
God.
80s. Yes. I would say, well, I learned that I knew that I could dance because
Okay.
I grew up in Charlotte, and the church denomination that we was a part of, Church of God, they didn't allow any, this is the 80s, late 70s, this is the 80s, a lot of churches didn't allow dancing, just like back in the day, they didn't like jazz, so it's like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
so it's that same concept. So I grew up in the church. So anything other than what we call shouting, church dancing was considered
Hmm.
secular, or you had to abhor from that. So when we moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma, we attended a church that was more uh, it was non-denominational, and so the freedom of expression to worship was a lot more liberty, especially for young people. You know what I'm saying? So I had the opportunity. I had a friend of mine who stayed in the same complex as us near Oral Roberts University, and he introduced me to MC Hammer. I never heard of this guy. I came from the strict religious background,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
I never heard of Hammer. I never heard of individuals like that. So when I saw him, let's get it started, and all the different videos. MTV was on at this time, BET, VH1, all these shows are showing music videos. So I just engrossed myself into that culture, and so
Okay.
I just started mimicking his moves really at the age of 14, 15. And so by the age of 16, I was discovered in a sense by an artist at that time who was the top artist in Christian music industry at the time. His name was Carmen, and so we actually attended the same church in Tulsa. And so he saw me dancing with another friend of mine, Morris, and he walked up to me and said, "Hey man, you have a gift." I'm like, "Do I?" I don't know. I'm just this is just like a passion I have. And next thing I know, 3 years later, I'm on tour as a dancer with Carmen. He was the first Christian contemporary artist to have dancers on a tour. Then from there, I toured with him for a good year and a half. Then toured with Kirk Franklin and Fred Hammond. Then eventually Tone, who is now Beach Slade. So a good 4.5, 5 years of my life, I lived on the road as a professional dancer, choreographer. Something I never even dreamed about doing. I just did it because I had a passion for it. Never took a class. I did auditions one time for a music video for Carmen for Who's in the House. You probably have maybe 100+ dancers there, trained, jazz, ballet. It was my first dance audition. Never took a class, and they had to choose 4 dancers, and they chose me. And the choreographer, she
Yeah.
said, "I didn't choose you because I couldn't get the choreography. I was horrible.
Yeah.
She said the reason why I chose you out of all these trained dancers, this greater, is because you can always get the choreography later. But I love your
Hmm.
presence, the way your charisma is like, I couldn't keep my eyes off of you. So that kind of started the beginning, in a sense, of my career as a dancer and choreographer.
Well, it was a passion of yours, like you said. You didn't learn it from somebody. You just sort of watched and mimicked, and it was your passion. So passion shows through no matter what you're doing, and sometimes, yeah, it does outshine experience from trained dancers. So yippee! Now I'm gonna have to go find the videos.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's out there.
Darius dancing. Here we go. Okay, so from dancing and working for the oil company or the gas company, um, what was it about screenwriting that attracted you? I know you did your first show, Wealth, your first movie, short film, Wealth. Where did you? Yes, Gina, find it on YouTube and drop the link in my chat room. Gina is in our chat room, is my co-host on or I'm her co-host on Thursday nights.
Okay,
So
okay,
we
wonderful.
so, I do it for her before I became her co-host. So now she got to do it now.
Yes. What was the question? I'm sorry.
It's okay. I kind of go off on things. How did you get from what made you interested in screenwriting? I know you created your first short film, Wealth, which I found. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I found the picture of it. So I was
Yeah.
like, that's the next thing I want to do is watch that movie as well. Um, where did you get that passion for filmmaking?
You know what? I had to, go all the way back to when, myself, my brother were young, and my mom used to always every Tuesday used to take us to the theater, to the movies. It was the summer program back in Charlotte, and I was always a movie lover, or love seeing movies, but it was never something that at that time I felt was a passion in any area. But it was when I was a bachelor, in my, you know, as a 25 years old, I was, making really good money. It worked for the gas company, and I would spend my Saturdays just going to the movies all day. This is back when you didn't have to. This when you could actually bring food into the theater, and that
Yeah,
kind of
you
thing.
didn't have to sneak your jacket and stuff. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And so my regimen was every Saturday around 10 or 11 or so, I would go to the AMC Fashion Valley Mall. They had the AMC theater there. I would go get my pizza kitchen a pizza, and I would go get like pick up sticks lemonade and a cinnamon roll. I'm 25,
Oh
145.
my God.
So I would walk in the theater. I walk in the theater like this, but they knew my name. Hey, how you doing, Darius? Hey, because they knew I was going to be there all day, and I was going to be coming to buy some concessions at some point. And so I would spend my Saturdays literally by myself, just watching every movie I could, and so over and over again. At some point I was like, man, something's wrong with me. Who does this? I'm like, something has to be wrong with me because who really does this? And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I've always been a creative person. So I've done, a lot of, writing for like stage productions and things like that. Was more so with church productions, but I always have a passion for writing because I have been keeping journals since I was 15. So I was always writing, and so, and always doing some kind of creative work in that sense. So it wasn't until 2004 that, I realized, wow, this may be something that I can do. So I, like I said, I started going back and forth to LA, checking out writing festivals, and kind of engross myself and just kind of dive in and see what I can, come out. I wrote this one big script. It was like, I don't know, 100 something pages, and I was so proud of it, And there was this lady there. She was looking for independent Black writers, and so I got connected to her. And the first thing I never forget, because it crushed me, And I handed her my script. She was legit too. I handed her my script, and she's like flipped through it. She's like, "Well, first of all, it's too long, and secondly, you wrote a director's cut script." I'm like, "What's that?" Because all I knew was I just took information off the internet, English scripts, and I just kind of
Mm-hmm.
mimicked what I saw. They had all the transitions and all the camera angles, so that's what I did. And so I didn't know at the time what the difference between a director's script and what what you call it, a regular script was. I forget the word, but it was a learning experience for him. So I kind of, and I let that festival kind of crush. Like, man, maybe I shouldn't do this, but but I kept going. And in 2008, 2009, that's when I wrote the script called Wealth. It was based upon a statement by Dr. Miles Monroe, who was my spiritual mentor at the time. He's passed away, but his statement was that the wealthiest place on the planet is a cemetery, because people die with dreams they never fulfilled, books they never written, songs they never sung. And so that was the inspiration behind that film, is that a lot of times people die die without pursuing their purpose. So I wanted that to be the purpose for that film. So that's why it's called Wealth, and it's like in a cemetery looking at, and looking at
But
a
it
grave.
makes sense.
Yeah. And so that really began the beginning of my film career. And I said, and like I said, it got really great reviews. A lot of people really loved it. I actually rented out a movie theater to premiere that 15 minutes short, so, and I had, I sold tickets at my church, and people, there was out, people in San Diego. So we had like we sold out, the first, viewing. So we had to like do 2 showings, and it was like really cool. And so I was like, wow, I think I'm made to do this. So, that kind of began that journey to LA.
So you're gonna have to figure out a way to get me that movie.
Oh yeah, I seen it's up there. I can find it. And I'll shoot you the link over to you.
Cool, perfect.
Yeah.
Now, mic drop. This is what connected us. Mic
Yes.
drop. First off, I listen to all kinds of music. The only thing I don't like is screamo or something that makes me want to bang my head against a brick wall. So I was like, but I've never heard of Christian hip hop. So
Yeah.
while I was doing my research for you, I had Alexa. Shh, don't talk. Shush. I had that girl over there. I said to her, I said, I want Christian music, Christian hip hop, Christian rap, and she found a station. So I've been listening to it all day, and
Wow.
I like it. And it's it's like some people think, oh well, it's Christian, it's going to be all this that. It's not. It's really good.
Yes.
And the movie tells the beginning of Christian hip hop.
Yes.
So how did you come about to write something that, I don't know, were you in I know you were in the church, so that was part of it, but where did the hip hop and that grab you at?
Well, around the same time of 15, 16, when I was dancing, and kind of backtrack, the moment that Carmen noticed me was when I was actually in a Christian rap group. It was me and a partner of mine, Morris Jackson. So we was actually rapping and dancing. Part of what made us cool was that we actually rap and we dance at the same time. We do all these really cool acrobatic dance moves. It was like, it was like kind of our 2-man show kind of thing. And so that caught the eye of Carmen. And so in the midst of that, we had of course we had a Christian rap group, but we all had the same manager. A lot of the groups in the area and also outside the state had the same manager for their Christian rap group. Her name was Rosemary Jordan. So a lot of people would come to Tulsa. A lot of the artists would come to Tulsa to perform. And so myself and Morris, we would either open up for them, then also dance behind them. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I was kind of in both worlds in a sense. And so a lot of the pioneers of Christian hip hop I came in contact with because of what I was already involved in with Christian rap. So when the opportunity came around to do this, I had not only a passion for what was taking place at the time, but I was actually in the midst of it, in a sense, as a young boy. And there's actual a video. There's actually a video of me and Morris, music video where we're dancing behind a few artists in Christian hip hop. And this back like in the early '90s. We show a little clip of that in the film because they actually bring it up. The group brings it up. Yeah, and Darius, the producer of this film, he was actually dancing with us. And to kind of put it up there, it's like, oh my God, I forgot, but they reminded me. And she said, I liked Carmen and Amy Grant. Yeah, I knew Carmen, man. A lot of people don't know this, and maybe I'm making it public now, but Carmen used to pick me up from school. He used to pick me up from my house. I used to go to his house and teach him dance moves. He had a dance floor built into his living room. It had the very first, probably one of the very first, CD, jukeboxes. I remember when it first came out, he bought like one of the first ones, and he put all this music in there, like Hammer and all these different great artists. He said, man, teach me these dances, teach me to Run 'Em In, teach me to Roger Rabbit. So I was teaching him all these dances in the 90s. The 90s had all these great dances, So I would teach her all these dance moves. So, I'm 16, 17 years old, junior and senior high school. 2 years later, I'm on tour with him. But that's some of the things that, I experienced at a young age that for me, I think I called it into existence because, back in Charlotte, I'm going backwards a bit, but back in Charlotte when I was 11 and 12, my mom gave me a cassette of Carmen. I was going through a tremendous time at the time, with my custody situation with my dad at the time. And so that music was very therapeutic for me, and it really helped me out. So I used to tell my brother, I'm going to know this guy one day. He's like, man, you crazy,
There you
man.
go.
He's like, well, you talking about you gonna know this guy one day? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna know this guy one day. 11 and 12 years old, 7 years later, I'm on tour with him. Not that I knew that was going to happen. I was just saying I'm gonna know him one day because I just loved his music. So I've always kind of held on to that childlike faith to know that whatever I have a passion to do, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna be successful in it, because if it's in me to do it and I have a passion for it, it means that God wants me to do it. And if I don't do it, He'll find somebody else. And that's kind of really been my moniker in life.
That's. I think Gina found the link to the YouTube for the wealth video. It's in the. I'll have to check it out after.
Okay.
But I think if everybody has as much passion for whatever they want to do, then they will get there, whether it's cooking, dancing, writing, acting, radio show, it's you have to believe in it full 100%. Live like it's going to happen. Live like you've got it already in some respects. And it's great. I love seeing your passion for when you're talking, like you're going, well, I got to go back and go. This show, what I like about this show is that you get to do what you want, say what you want. It's all there is.
Yeah.
So with the show, mic drop, with the film, I should say, you had a lot of interesting people in there.
Yeah. We have the very first Christian hip hop artist that received a record deal is Stephen Wiley. He started really in 79, 80, 81, 82. His record deal and his record deal was like in 85. So his release was in 85, but his deal was like in 82 or 83. So we got Stephen Wiley. And we also have Michael Peace, who was right after him, who was in New York City, actually Rochester, New York. And Stephen Wiley was in the Midwest, Tulsa, Oklahoma. He had a group out of Dallas, Texas, named PID, Preachers in Disguise. He had, one of probably the most famous groups was DC Talk out of Nashville. They were actually at Liberty University. And so it all kind of began with those 4 different states: Oklahoma, Texas, Tennessee, and New York. And it just kind of went on from there to LA, then Florida, and became this grassroots movement, which was what hip hop was even in general. It started in New York, hip hop in general, and just kind of spread over the different states and the nation. Now, 40 years later, it's around the world. But
Exactly.
And that's really, and the part of the struggle with Christian hip hop is because you're dealing with Christian people, or just like with dance. I remember when I was dancing, it's like, get that boogaloo out the church. You shouldn't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? You should be doing it. But I kept doing it. Then it became something more than I had anticipated and imagined. Just the past 2 weeks, my former pastor that was in Tulsa at the time, Bishop Carlton Pearson, they've been showing clips of video clips of myself and the dancers that were with me in Tulsa. You're talking about, we had up to 40 dancers at sometimes performing in front of thousands and thousands of people, through the conference and also just through TBN and things like that. And because of that, it gave other pastors and churches the confidence to say, we can do it too. So it was never for me. And my wife, she was watching some of the videos. She was like, this is like 1991, 1992. She's weeping like, you were a pioneer back then. You didn't know it. I guess, yeah. And now you're introducing something in a sense where, one of the pioneers of the film, in the film, says, man, you're like a pioneer for the pioneers right now. You're actually bringing this out. And so for me, it's like, I never see it that way until people realize, oh yeah, it's like, for me, there's a platform that needs to be filled. And if I have a passion to fill that, I'm just going to do it and take all the hits and, press through. But I know eventually it'll be an opportunity for other people to create a platform for them.
Exactly. Now, was there anybody that you kind of wanted to reach out for, but part of you kind of said, well, I don't know if I should, or I don't know how they're going to think about, just me, Darius, calling them up and saying, this is what I'm trying to do. Was there anybody that was like?
Oh, yeah. I would say Tim Miner. Tim Miner, in during the time in the late '80s, the early '90s, he was one of probably the most popular producers in Christian music in general at that time. And so just reaching out to him was like, man, I'm not sure. He was living in Calabasas at the time. And when you think of Calabasas, you think of the Kardashians. You think of oh, this is like people they got this stuff together. So just reaching out to him, of course, through the executive producer of the film, Michael Anthony Taylor, is a good friend and big brother. He gave me his number and his information. I reached out and I was like, man, please, it'd be great if we could have him. And he said, yeah, man, come on through. I'm at his house. I see all these plaques on the wall. Do it with Al Green, Justin Bieber. At his night, and it's like all these different artists he's worked with over the years, and I'm in there actually about Christian hip hop. It's like even while I was over there, Brian McKnight had called him on the phone because I was working on some other project with him. So I'm like, man, this guy, he's like the guy, and so it was surprising. Even to this day, we're really good friends. We talk quite a bit, text back and forth. He's in Nashville. And so we're going to hang out in October next month, actually, when we do the premiere in Nashville. So, yeah, that's out of all the artists or even people involved. And actually, another surprising one that people said he wouldn't give me an interview. So when people say I can't do something, that gives me the motivation. Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So he was Joseph Taylor. Joseph Ojo Taylor. He was the co-founder of Brainstorm Records or Brainstorm International, who was like the Interscope Records, if so to speak, for Christian hip hop music. And so they had like the SFC, they had Idol King, they had Dynamic Twins. They had a lot of the LA based groups, and it was very, very LA music. It was like it was nice. It kind of changed the game for Christian hip hop. So when I was looking for an opportunity to interview him, people say, hey, man, I think he's an atheist, man. He ain't gonna want to interview. He don't want nothing to do with Christian music. It's like, and I researched people like, if you're gonna, yeah, okay. So nobody knew how to get in touch with him, but they just said, yeah, we don't think it's going to happen. So I just kind of did my research. I caught up with where he worked as a professor in music somewhere in Virginia. Then I emailed the education email there. His assistant replied to me, yeah, he's not here. He's actually on vacation right now in Seattle or somewhere in Washington. So I said, well, can you give me his email? Because I want to email him. Sure. Yeah. And so I emailed him and just kind of said, hey, I understand if you don't know, but I just want to just kind of get your story. He said, yeah, sure. Definitely, I'm just up here hanging out with my brother-in-law. He said, I'll be here till, maybe 2 or 3 days. I said, okay, I can jump on the flight tomorrow. I'll meet you in Seattle tomorrow. And so that's literally how that interview got. I set up my hotel room so he could sit down, and I had the lights and I had the camera, and he just came in. We busted out this interview. We had a great conversation off camera as well. And it was like, well, they said you wouldn't interview. You wouldn't allow me to interview. He said, man, I loved your approach. I saw your passion just in the email. I really want to be a part of it. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So it's just been those kind of moments in putting this film together. Like you said, very surprising. Like, oh, okay, you say I can't do it. I'm gonna do my best to see if it can happen. Just and here we are.
Exactly, and that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize is like somebody told you, he'll never talk to you, but it gives you more of the incentive to do it. But the thing is, if you don't ask, and that's my way of thinking, if I don't ask, I don't give him a chance to say yes. Never mind, no. I'm willing. I'll accept your no, but I'd rather hear a yes.
Yes. Yes.
And no matter how you put it or who you ask, just give them a chance. Because like you said, so many people said, no, you're not going to get this. But the guy was like, yeah. And again, somebody else who saw your passion, who saw your energy for it. So that's, that's something that's going to be, that is Darius.
Yes.
Because you have the energy no matter what you're talking about. Now, because we're friends on Facebook, I've also seen that you have an amazing family and gorgeous daughters, by the way.
Thank you.
And it shows the passion that you have for your family. It shows there as well. So it's like you are, no matter what you step out to do, I have a feeling that it's just going to shine way beyond people's expectations.
Wow, appreciate that.
Yeah. Do you have any? I know you. I know the premiere is coming up in October, and let's see, where does it say? The red carpet social distance premieres in Nashville this fall. Follow everybody. Follow him on Instagram. Let me see if I can get this up. You follow on Instagram the Darius and the MC. Sorry, Mike dropped the movie, and you might get a chance to get invited to the premiere.
Yeah,
I will make it because it's down in the States and I still don't have my passport yet.
that's
Because
fine.
my husband's from Philadelphia, so when we used to go back and forth, I didn't need a passport. I just crossed over and they let me back home.
Wow,
Now they will let me back over. No.
wow.
But so the premiere is coming up, and I know that's a lot on your mind, but I've talked to quite a few people who have books coming out and things coming out, but they always have something on the back burner. So what's on the back burner for Darius?
What's on the back burner? Well, there's a lot of back burners happening actually. Um, just the opportunity because of my drop. I'm one of the producers for a film called Jesus Revolution V2 that start filming next summer uh, in here and also in the UK in London, and it kind of it chronicles what happened in like in the '60s, late '60s, early '70s of like the Jesus Revolution type environment that happened, and they brought me on to add the element of Christian hip hop and the history of that, but also what's happening today in the present culture of Christian music,
Mm-hmm.
and what music would be one of the spearheading genres. Because during that time, Christian hip hop, Christian rock was really popular in the coming into a popularity in the '60s and the '70s, and on through into the '80s. But they was really want to know what genre of music would be kind of spearheading what they feel could be a next revolution of within Jesus culture or young people, Christian music. And the answer is was pretty obvious, Christian hip hop. And so they're like, well, we need you a part of this film. So I've been working really well with them. I just did a show with them a few weeks ago, doing another one this Thursday because they have the Kickstarter happening before the investors become a part of it. We have the soundtrack coming, being released this month for Mic Drop, September 25th. It'll be up on all major uh, music streaming
Okay.
platforms. It is produced by Dare Records and distributed by Warner Music Group, along with the film as well. The film is distributed through Warner. It would be released this fall. We're in the fall, um,
Mm-hmm.
and so this fourth quarter, the film will be released. Generally, it happens 30 days so after the soundtrack is released, because the soundtrack helps promote the film. Then they release the film, and so.
It's
Um,
true.
Yeah, so it's like Netflix, and then after that, DVD and Blu-ray, that whole
Good.
thing.
I got Netflix. I'm good.
Yay! Yeah. So yeah, it's very exciting. Got that. We're working on a few other projects as well. That once 2021 hit, we'll be working full force with that as well. So yeah, it's just exciting to see all these things come together within the first 8 years of my time here in LA, being able to be in the position to do something like this and talk about something like this.
Is there anything? Okay, let's go back to another question I had. Sorry, shiny cat syndrome. What do your girls think about Dad and Christian hip hop rap and dancing? And have they seen the videos, and are they kind of going, "Oh God, Dad," you know?
No,
Because I know my girls do that. My daughter does that.
yeah, my oldest daughter, Eden, she just turned 13 this past September 1st, so she's a teenager now. But she's been dancing since she came out the womb. So it's been something I've been encouraging her with. Kids bop, they love her. She was supposed to start with them this year, but the pandemic happened. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but they had just called me maybe a week and a half ago because they just still want to make sure Eden was still interested in being a part of Kids Bop. I was like, "Oh, are you crazy?" So they wanted me to send them some updated. So her passion is she has those same gifts I have in the area of creativity, dancing and singing, just performance wise. Because that's something I used to do as a kid in front of the mirror in Charlotte. But most of my singing was mostly inside the church, in the choir or leading a song here and there. But because of what I've been exposed to in the area of entertainment and even ministry of entertainment, I've been pushing her, like, do it. I didn't have nobody to push me. I had to push myself. So, I'm pushing her out there. Yeah, do it, because, you want to grow. Because when you get in that environment, it helps you to flourish in your gift. It helps you to get a greater vision of what you want to do and what you can do in life. So they all have a passion. Our second daughter, Valentina, she wants to be a veterinarian and she wants to be an actress. So, so you can do both.
Yeah.
Then our youngest one, she's 9. I call her my bonus daughter because I remarried. So me and my wife, we have, a mixed family. So my bonus daughter, Autumn, she wants to be a writer. And one week she wants to be a director, and the next week she wants to be a writer. So I'm thinking she can be a writer and a director. So it's kind of,
look how you started.
Exactly. That's how I started.
The first script you wrote, the woman said you did a director's cut. So.
Yep. Exactly. And so so they're, I love showing them what I did, and because it encourages them. Like, man, Dad was only 15, 16 years old, and he was going for it. I said, yeah, because I use those opportunities as a teaching moment to let them know that you want to do it now when you're young. You want to know what you want to do and have a passion. Don't wait till you're older, like a lot of people do. Like, man, I should have did this. I should have. Say, no, do it now, because I'm living proof that you can do it and it can be done.
Exactly. And the thing is, your first movie, it just sort of says the richest place is cemetery, because there's so many people whose dreams are there who didn't do it. So now you're teaching your girls, this is the time. You've got the dreams, you've got the time. Your mom and I are backing you, so have at it. Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Gina Smarty Pants. How is the virus affecting what you are doing?
Well, actually, it hasn't really affected anything we've done. It's actually kind of catapulted what we're doing in terms of the film. There's a lot more eyes on what we're doing because it's online. When we released the official trailer for the film, what was this? Like in April or March. I was like, okay, let's do it and just, see how. We got like tens of thousands of views of this trailer because so many people were sharing it. I was like, oh my God, what is, I want to start this, and I believe it was due to the pandemic because everybody was at home, everybody's online, and it just kind of spread like wildfire to, like I said, the opportunity with Jesus Revolution V2 came up, and, other artists there, Lecrae even reached out to us because he's like, man, I saw this, he's like the top Christian hip hop artist, right now. And for a while now, and for him to reach out to us and say, man, I saw this trailer, what can I do to help support? And, and it's just like, this would have never happened had the pandemic never happened. So, so it's the good and the bad, but it's actually helped us with the film and brought more eyes to what we're doing.
Which is true. And a lot of people look at the negative, and I'm one of those people who has to find the silver lining in every cloud. Yeah. And you think, oh my God, the pandemic, I'm stuck at home. But everybody who is stuck at home is either in front of the TV or in front of the computer, and they're searching for more things. They're seeing things. So yeah, your trailer went wild, crazy, but just imagine what's going to happen when the film comes out.
That's wild. Yeah, I haven't really thought about it too much, but I think my wife kind of reminds me of those things, because even when we're going to the premiere, I'm like, man, yeah, we get to go to this premiere, and the kids are happy because we get to stay at the Virgin Hotel. They're all excited, and my wife, she's like, but kids, you got to understand that your dad is being celebrated here, and people are gonna be looking at all of us, so we want to make sure, and for me, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, okay,
yeah.
I guess they are. I wouldn't. For me, I'm just excited. Let's go see the film. But it's like, oh yeah, I will be the guy everybody's wanting to talk to, or I will be the guy everybody's wanting to see. I was like, oh shoot, okay. And so,
Yeah, like you're gonna go there wanting, you're thinking, I'm gonna go sit back, relax, and enjoy the film, but you're actually gonna be working.
yeah, it's like, oh
You know,
yeah,
it's like, oh shoot, I'll watch it. I'll be able to enjoy it later. But for that day, for that premiere, you are going to be working it. And like I said, I have a feeling it's going to be really interesting, to say the
wow,
least.
appreciate that. Yes, I really hope so.
And you're gonna and you're gonna have somebody do a Facebook Live so I can share it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
So, is there anything that you wish you'd have done differently?
Hmm. Are you talking about in life or just in the film? In terms,
In everything, in the film and in life.
man, I I can't say there is. Um, I believe that any decision I've made have gotten me to this point.
Hmm.
Whether it was whether it's a decision that I thought I shouldn't have made, I learned from and I corrected it, or it was a decision that I made that was correct and this. So I believe I am exactly where I'm supposed to be because God already knew what process it would take for me to get here. So I consider every bad decision, every mistake, every learned experience, every good thing a part of my process to get to where I am. Because even when you think about training as an athlete, the different things you got to go through, you fall and you get back up, but it's a part of the process, part of that journey. Kobe said the joy is in the journey of getting
Yep.
to where you are. So yeah, there's nothing I regret and no decision that I regret because every bad decision I see is a learning opportunity because it's a part of my process in life. Yeah.
Well, Gina in the chat room says, "What do you like doing the best? Writing, dancing, acting?"
Oh wow. I would say writing. I love writing. I don't get a chance to write as much as I would like to, but I also love reading as well. I'm reading a book right now called The Sword and the Shield. It's about the parallel and contrast lives of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. And so I love history. I love delving into history. I love knowing the origin of things. So from that comes my ability and creativity to write and really understand and get a better understanding of culture, history, and even what's happening in society. So I love writing. I love writing.
Yeah. Well, I had on my show with Gina last week, we had a woman who went through all of her journals. She, like you, kept journals through all of her life, and she wrote a book based on what she reread in her journals.
Yeah, and I often
So
think
that could
about
be a
that.
book.
I often, like I said, since I was 15, so what, 30 years of my life is on paper, um,
Hmm.
and we hope to have a son sometime in the uh, next year or so. And because when I started writing in my journal, my whole focus was I want to have a son one day so I can show him and he can read the life of his father,
Hmm.
as something I can pass down as a legacy to him. So I see that my journals could be my own personal autobiography that someone can write about me or I can write about myself because the material is there. I don't have to make nothing up.
Exactly.
I don't have to remember anything because I probably forgot most of the stuff that I wrote down. So like the young lady, I go back and read stuff like, oh my God, I did that, or man, I don't remember doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And sometimes you go back and you read something like this. The woman, she went back and she read something she had done 4 years ago, and she was doing the exact same thing. It was a
Wow.
different way of. It wasn't as good as yours, okay,
Yeah.
but okay. That is our guest this week. His thoughts become things. Manifest your son. Well, I think the wife has something to do with that too. Because you've already got three girls and a wife. I'm just like, go for it. You can have don't hope for too much because you end up with another girl. You're gonna be like, oh, geez, gotta try
Like,
again.
oh, God,
You might be like, no,
it's
because you
over.
figure your wife already has one boy, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. Yes.
But yeah, so the woman last week, she was reading her journals and she realized how she was sort of going around in a circle. something that she had done 4 years ago. Then she was reading it. She says, I'm in the exact same spot. A little bit different, but in the exact same spot. So things do kind of go around until you learn the lesson. So hopefully you've learned your lesson, but I'll be interested to know what the big lesson is you learned when you reread your journals. Like, oh my God, did I do that?
Yes, that was a tremendous challenge.
Sorry, the movement you see behind me over there is my dog Onyx. I just suddenly I could see something moving. Like, oh, okay, Onyx is on the chair.
You got my two oldest daughters. They have a dog named Onyx at their mom's house. Their dog is named Onyx.
Exactly, yep. And Onyx is a crystal that keeps away negativity. So, see, he might be a Shih Tzu, but he's a pit bull at heart. So keep away all the negative.
He's chilling.
Oh yeah, he's like, I'm on my lazy boy. That's not my chair. He's like, I have to ask permission if I can sit on it. It's like, okay. But,
wow.
Yeah. So Gina says, be proactive.
Yes.
But that covers for everything. So not just Now at what point how long have you and your wife been married?
We've been married. We've only been married a year, but we've been in a relationship for the better part of 4 years. We was dating back and forth. We had a long distance relationship. She was living in San Diego. Of course, I was here in LA. And we met in San Diego when I went down to the church I attended at that time, where I was still connected with. And so I was there doing some singing. Yeah, of course, I forgot. I also used to lead worship and help write a worship album and things like that. So I was still connected with that church. So when I went back, 2015, 2016, I believe, 2015, and I had met her. She was on the worship team, and we connected, and so we began to talk. And so the better part of like 3 years, we were like in a dating relationship, a long distance. We may see each other once a month, maybe, but we kept things going. So, and so her and Autumn moved here last year, July 1st, 2019. So 7 days from the day I moved here. And so they celebrated their first year here in July 1st. I celebrated my 8th year in July 1st. So we all became a family at that point when they moved up here, and we got married in San Diego. Then everyone moved up here. Yes.
So your wife and you have been together through the whole journey of the movie.
Yeah, for a greater part of. As a matter of fact, she flew with myself and our crew to Dallas in 2016 when we shot the concert that's actually in the film. So she actually was my second assistant director in the film. So yeah, so she even had a role in the film. Yeah. So she's been a part of the process as well, because we re-edited the film in 2019, but I've been filming since 2015, and so it has been really a 5-year journey up to this point.
Yeah, a lot of people think things go quickly because it's like, I'm not sure how long it is, but we'll say example, it's a 1-hour film. People think, oh my God, it just took them like a year, but it's not always that way. Like you said, it was, you had to pick and choose your moments when people wanted to get the interviews and then put it all together and then watch it, re-edit it and all that stuff, fun stuff. Because, but 5 years, that's about normal.
Yeah, it's about normal. It's about normal.
And was there anybody along the way in shooting the movie, the film, that kind of said, you know what, you should do it this way, because it would sell better or air better, and you just kind of went, yeah, thanks for the advice, great, but this is the way I see it.
Yeah. Well, you have all those different opinions coming in. The people that I generally would listen to is my rep over at Warner, and executive producer Michael Anthony Taylor, because they have a better pulse of what's happening in the industry and what what will sell. Warner, they know exactly, okay, this is what needs to be done. So the film had, the very first cut of the film was already finished in 2017, a year after we shot the concert, but we did a re-edit of 2019 in November. So for 90 days, for 3 months, we spent those from November 2019 to December, January, all the way to February, re-editing this film. And I'm still different cuts. Okay, here's what the beginning is. Here's what and just getting these notes, and just really, honing in on what we want this, what the film to say, the concert to present, and the graphics and everything had to be very meticulous. So
Yeah.
so my circle of influencers in the film is very little, maybe like 2 or 3 people altogether. You know what I'm saying? Just like we want to make sure we have the right vision. So when we was finished with the first one, I was finished with the first rough cut of the second version of the film. The notes I got back was, oh my God, this is different. This is like night and day compared to the first one we finished in 2017. It's like, this is a documentary. It was like, this is what we're talking about. And so, that really helped, and everything else from there kind of flowed. Yeah.
Exactly. Gina says, like our TV shows, 2 weeks to get a 1 hour show. It's very true.
Exactly. Exactly.
And too many, better to keep it close. Too many chiefs.
Oh, definitely.
Because, yeah, it is. Well, gosh, we're almost at an end. We've only got about 8 minutes left. First off, the film, it airs. Oh, I took notes beforehand. Finally did something right for a change.
There you go.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, the premiere will be in Nashville, Tennessee. And we're excited about that. My PR team is actually based in Nashville, so they're doing a lot of they're doing all of the work. They'll just hit me up with an email or text or call and say, "This is what we need," that kind of thing. And we have our weekly calls as well for a lot of the press and things we do. But yeah, so they've worked that out. They've been working feverishly. But we've had to change the date twice. It was in May, then it was in August, now it's in October. So it's just, but now it's been really solidified for October, and everything is great. But it's just that within itself has been a challenge, but we've always remained positive throughout. Yes.
Yeah, because originally when we spoke with the movie, movie was supposed to come out in August. And I said, okay, great, we can see it. It didn't work. But like I said, there's always a reason for why it's not coming out. I think this is for many reasons. This is going to be like, people are really going to be chomping at the bit to see it.
Yes.
Now, is it going to be in one specific theater, or is it going to be like a wide release?
It is going to be a wide release with Netflix or Hulu. That's the other. Stay
with Netflix, please. I don't have Hulu. Stay with Netflix.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But once it released, everybody's going to know about it. Warner's going to be pushing it. Netflix is going to be pushing it because it's the first one ever. It's never been done. It's been attempted at least a dozen times, from what I understand, by people who know. But this is the first time it's actually been succeeded and accomplished. So it's going to be tremendous push for that, especially when the soundtrack is released. People start downloading the music. They want to see the film now. It's going to be a lot of marketing behind that. So it will be released through Netflix globally, and then probably the first or second quarter of next year is when the DVD and Blu-ray will be released as well, so people can actually own it for themselves and say, "Hey, I got the first one," that kind of thing. Yes.
Exactly. Well, I definitely, I'm not as big as Warner Brothers and Warner Studios, but Mama D will push it and advertise it as much as it comes out. There you go. Angel Meadows Radio. How can you go wrong with that? And Christian hip hop. There we go.
Yes.
Well, we got about 5 minutes left. Is there anything that you want to share?
Gina, I think Gina asked, is it called Mic Drop, the movie soundtrack? Yes, it's called Mic Drop, the soundtrack. I'm not sure if it's called the film soundtrack, but it is called Mic Drop, the soundtrack, based upon the film. Mic Drop, the culture of Christian hip hop. That would be the full title. Mic Drop, the culture of Christian hip hop. As a matter of fact, I may have, if I can share my screen, let me see.
Yeah.
I may have the, let's see. Okay, yeah. I may have the image on my desktop. Am I sharing my screen? I'm not sure if I am or not.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay. I thought I was. Let's see, share. Okay. I'm going to show the share entire screen. Okay. I'm not sure if it works. Chrome has lost permission to capture. Okay, I'm not sure if I can show. But anyway, I can send it to you, and you can send it to Gina.
Yeah.
The artwork for the soundtrack. So she'll be able to. You guys will be able to recognize that when it comes out on September 25th. That's when it's released.
September 25th. My September month is a crazy busy month for birthdays, and now I've got a soundtrack release. Yay!
Yeah. Me too. Have a niece, 2 nieces, my brother. We got about 4 or 5 birthdays in September alone. So everything's around the 17th to the 25th area. So
Yeah, September is, yes. Gina says yes, we will share it, because not only do I have a show, but Gina has a show that like I said, I co-host with her. She is a paranormal investigator, and she's got a wide following of friends that will be like, "Ooh, yes, sir." So
wonderful. I appreciate it. That'd be great.
We're going to do the best that we can to help out. And again, I thank you a whole lot. And anytime you have something else that you want to share, just hit me up. Yeah, we're friends on Facebook now for you. You can just say, "Hey, Mama D, I need this shared," or "Can I come back on the show?" It's like, yeah.
Wonderful. I appreciate it.
It'll be fun. Well, I thank you very much. Have a great rest of your evening, because you're so early. Your California time. Enjoying. I hopefully the fires are not affecting you so much.
No, not us in our area, but it's really hot. It's 120 degrees outside here.
Oh yeah, no, I'm ready to turn the heat on. Okay, I'm up here in Quebec, and I'm ready to turn.
Oh my God! I wish I was in that weather, man. This is crazy. Me and all 3 of the girls, we're going to go hiking today, this morning, to this waterfall. It's like 20 minutes north of us. We was getting out the car, ready to go. The park rangers out there says no one can go. They closed down the trails because people were being rescued yesterday from heat stroke.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I was like, whoa. It was already 100 degrees. It was like 10:30 in the morning. So
yeah. No, I don't do heat. Like 5 minutes in the sun, and I look like a cooked lobster. Thank you very much. That's good.
Yep.
Well, again, thank you very much. And like I said, if you ever need anything or you want to come back on the show, just hit me up, and we will make plans for that.
Sounds
so
great.
Everybody, thanks for coming to another Sunday night show. I will see you next week, and y'all be good, behave yourselves, and don't get into too much trouble, because I ain't got bail money for y'all.
Yes.
Bye.